Disney is known for many things. It's good, wholesome family content, its adorable mascots, the human bones hidden in their theme parks, the Nazi scandal, pushing a bunch of innocent lemmings off a cliff. Wait, what? If you think I'm exaggerating, think again. These are some of Disney's most controversial, downright scandalous moments throughout its history. To kick things off, let's start with this adorable little guy. This cute, heart-melting little rodent is called a lemming. Isn't he just precious? Don't you just want to pick him up and throw him off a cliff? And tell everyone he killed himself like Jeffrey Epstein? No? Well, apparently Disney did. Let's talk about the infamous lemming suicide conspiracy. We begin in 1958 with the production of White Wilderness, a Disney-produced nature documentary about wildlife found in Canada and Alaska. One of the species covered were these little dudes, the lemmings. Disney referenced an urban legend that they had a strange tendency to commit suicide by jumping off cliffs, but thankfully debunking it by assuring us that they can swim. In actuality, lemmings often have overpopulation issues, and when this occurs, a large group of these little guys will try and find a new home, so they don't run out of food, which is totally reasonable. Well, what if we told you that Disney faked the scene of the lemmings jumping off the cliff?
Man, that's great. That's horrible.
That's right, it's been all but confirmed that the film crew pushed the lemmings down the cliff themselves, due to the fact that the region of Canada the movie was filmed in didn't have the specific type of lemming. The clip disturbingly shows the poor creatures tumbling down, some of them even frantically trying to run back up the cliff. Although lemmings can swim, a body of water too deep or wide can be fatal, and so Disney was willing to put the lives of adorable animals in jeopardy for the sake of some extra drama in their documentary. But surely that's the only time they slaughtered innocent animals, right? Well, welcome to Discovery Island, where animal killings with even less justification occurred. Don't get me wrong, the lemmings thing was horrible, but if I absolutely had to go all Saul Goodman on that case, there's technically a possibility that they didn't mean to kill any of the lemmings. But such ignorance can't be claimed for the numerous vultures killed under Disney's watch on this popular attraction. According to this article, in 1989, Disney World faced a whopping 16 federal and state charges for their mistreatment of animals, most notably vultures. This included, but was not limited to, capturing 200 vultures with only permission for 100, destroying them when they became hostile to other animals, which was only legal under extreme circumstances, and perhaps most idiotically, crammed 72 of them into an overheated shed. Want to guess how many the shed was permitted to hold? 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. No wonder they were so hostile, I'd be pissed off too. And that's not even getting into them destroying birds' nests and eggs. If you want to see Discovery Island today, it's pretty unlikely. Your best bet is a YouTube video by Matt Sanswa from a few years ago where he successfully explores the abandoned park. While we're on the topic, let's take a ride on Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean attraction dating back to 1967. It's got all your kids' favorite pirate imagery. Treasure, ships, actual human remains. Yes, really, when Disney's crew was unable to recreate realistic human skeletons, which is really hard to believe considering they made animatronic bears quite easily, Disney headed over to UCLA to get some authentic human bones to spruce things up. It's insane to think that at some point, the people at family fun capital Disneyland had to assure the public that their ride didn't have human bones. What's even crazier though is that these bones were willed to the university to do with as they needed, making the inclusion of actual dead body parts the least egregious thing we've talked about so far. But hey, at least those skeletons are treated a lot better than Disney employees. Disney isn't just too cheap to give its workers good wages, it's actually cheap enough to force them to share underwear. Apparently, the mascot costume wearers had to wear company-regulated underwear because that was the only way they were guaranteed to not show through the costume. And no, it doesn't stop there. Disney doesn't just give you the underwear. What, do you think they're made of money? No. Instead, all the underwear was communal and was laundered by Disney. This meant that workers had to put their faith in their greedy bosses to keep their underpants clean. Apparently, this was not always done to successful results, as many workers complained of public lice and scabies, which is gross. Thankfully, in 2001, a bill was finally signed that guaranteed park workers would be able to clean their own undergarments. Their way of saying sorry about the scabies, if you will. A truly historical moment for Disney to take accountability here, which calls for a celebration, and what place could be better for it than Celebration Florida? That's right, a theme park wasn't enough for the House of Mouse. A town called Celebration, Florida was founded in 1994, with the intention of becoming the golden standard for American life. YouTuber Savantix video goes into a lot of good detail about the many bizarre facets of this town. But don't worry, we'll give you the highlights.
It's an exciting challenge, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for everyone who participates.
The town had some incredibly strange rules, ranging from silly to borderline cult-like. One example is the fact that any pet could be removed if it were considered annoying. That's right, just being annoying is grounds for Little Billy's puppy to be forcibly removed from Disney's supposed utopian society. While not quite as mean, there was an even stranger rule that residents had to follow. They had to hide an image of Mickey somewhere on their property, like it's a gang sign or something. Now, I don't know if this was for branding, which seems unlikely because if it were, why would it be hidden? Maybe it's for some sort of emergency seance that might happen. If the town is ever threatened, Mickey Mouse himself can be summoned with these symbols to protect it. I don't know. But just 10 years later, in 2004, Disney sold the town away after numerous complaints from residents about its odd, overly specific rules, as well as its ambitious but ineffective public schooling, and so on and so forth. It remains to be seen if Disney will try this again, but with about 30 years of technological advancement since its debut, Celebration 2 would definitely be an interesting sight to see. From a distance, that is. But until their next town, we can count on Disney's greed to manifest itself in its infamous copyright infringement reputation. Oh no, they aren't the ones doing it. They're the ones fighting against it. After all, with Disney being such a low-key studio, they can't risk people using their characters outside of copyright. Take, for instance, the use of Disney characters on nursery walls in California. Disney can't just sit by and let a breach of common human decency like this stand, now could they? Naturally, the only solution is to demand the murals be taken down. With all jokes aside, this is really just greedy as sin, man. When I was a kid, my doctor's office had like 10 walls covered in Mickey Mouse drawings. Little did I know I was lucky enough to not be there when Disney's Mouse Squad rolled in like the ATF did at Waco to paint over it all. And it gets worse. Imagine being a parent dealing with the incredibly tragic loss of your 4-year-old son who loved Spider-Man. So as a way of honoring his short but meaningful life, you decide to put Spider-Man on his gravestone. Basically, Disney said, "You can't keep getting away with it!" Disney, in their infinite wisdom, decides to refuse allowing them to do so. Apparently, this can be traced back to a rule from Walt Disney himself not allowing the use of Disney characters on gravestones, which I guess is fair enough, but A, Spider-Man wasn't a Disney character until years after Walt Disney died, and B, even if he was, I mean, read the room and make an exception, guys. Granted, Disney did offer a hand-drawn movie frame for him, but this is still a totally scummy move on Disney's part. Also, the fact they cite preserving the innocence of their characters is a bit weird for several reasons. For one, you guys literally own Peter Griffin, Thanos, and Claude Frollo, and even if that weren't the case, just look at the insanely dark subject matter of some of your earlier works. Like Bambi, for instance. Do you have any idea how many kids were traumatized by watching the cute little baby deer's mom get killed? And that's far from the only dark detail in your films. For instance, there's the Mickey Mouse cartoon that took place during the Great Depression, where Mickey, Donald, and Goofy nearly starve. There's also some movies in general that venture into darker territories. Snow White dies at one point thanks to a poisoned apple. Oh, and let's not forget Hunchback of Notre Dame, which has a priest literally kill a mother just barely off screen and keep her ugly child in a bell tower, forced to never have human interaction. Honestly though, a lot of Disney's darker moments are what have made the studio so great, but not all of them. But when controversial Disney content is in the conversation, nothing comes up quite as often as good old-fashioned family racism.
That's good old-fashioned family racism.
Yeah, there is honestly a concerning amount of this in earlier Disney. For instance, you have the infamous crows from Dumbo, a very blatant stereotype. I mean, the main crow is named Jim Crow, and he talks like this.
Ah! Well, hush my beat.
But even with that absolute train wreck of a stereotype, perhaps the most infamous of Disney's history of insensitive content is the movie Song of the South. So let's get this straight. You take a movie, a family movie mind you, and make an ambitious effort to combine animation and live action, which is really impressive for the 1940s, and you set it during the era of slavery in the United States, and then have the slaves sing happily about how darn okay America is for them.
Wonderful feeling, wonderful day.
That's not good. And on that note, let's wrap things up by talking about the whole Nazi sympathizing thing. Enter Walt Disney and Leni Riefenstahl. I know what you're thinking. Who the heck is Walt Disney? What matters is that you know who Leni Riefenstahl is, surely. On the off chance that you don't, she was basically Adolf Hitler's favorite director, whom he commissioned to create various propaganda films and trusted greatly as an associate. In 1938, she came to America to try and sell one of her documentaries to no success. Hollywood absolutely shunned her for obvious reasons, one being that she was a Nazi, but there was an exception. Actually, two exceptions, but only one is important today. And it was good old Papa Disney himself. For some reason that, to this day, is completely unknown, Walt Disney gave Riefenstahl a tour of his studio and even showed her some storyboards for his upcoming film, Fantasia. He did refuse to watch her film, which added to Riefenstahl's bitter feelings towards the whole experience, but really though, I'm not sure what she expected. But it's impossible to deny that Disney's willingness to be one of only two members of Hollywood to welcome her is a bit concerning. The bizarre nature of it all raises a lot of questions too. Why would Disney not only welcome one of Hitler's besties into his studio, but then promptly refuse to watch her movie? Did he want to watch it but held back as to not seem suspicious? Did his open hatred for communism make him a bit more open to the opposite extreme? Did he just want to smash? Is that why she was so bitter? Hey, we don't have conclusive evidence of the guy's true feelings. And considering all the absolutely wild stuff Disney's history has thrown at my brain today, nothing would really shock me.